Hi, this is just some information about my car camper that I built on one of my videos and designed. It's a fairly standard box shaped thing with 3 sections. One has a sink area with waste, and also the second section has fresh water and a drop-in pump that goes to a tap. You can take the tap off so it unclips. And also, when you want to make it a bed, you've got a wooden circular piece of wood that's rubberized that goes on top of the sink, and that becomes the bottom area of the bed where your feet would go, and then the mattress goes down on it and everything else. So it's been quite successful. It was designed really for my Ford Fusion 1.4 diesel, and I needed something really quite low profile, so that I could use it without the seats and the bed area being at an angle like that, So it had to be really small. It's about 30 centimetres high, that's all. So there's a few problems to get round with that, i.e. most water containers are designed to be high, big things, quite a height to them. But I managed to find quite a skinny one that I could use and have that horizontally, and put an extra hole in that, and that becomes the wastewater area. So with that and the sink, I actually had 1 millimetre spare, without it, popping the sink out of the cutout hole in the box. But it's worked. It's been really, really good. Another thing you can do with it is you can take the clip-off tap off, and with a magnet that I put on it, you can then attach it to the hatchback at the back of the car. And of course, when the hatchback is open, you can then attach it to that and have a shower, either in your shorts, bikini, or whatever you're wearing, if you're a man or woman. Also, if you could even have a little magnetic sort of shower curtain to go round, and do it that way if you wanted. So it's got that side of it, which is quite nice. It's also got a pull-out shelf, which is handy. So I can have a burner on the main box, and also can have one on this pop-out shelf as well. So I can have 2 burners. Or you could have a double burner, I think, just about fit that on there, which is quite good. I was asked some questions about it. What was why not get a van? And the reason I didn't get a van was because I really just believe in having one vehicle. It's just me and my wife, so my daughter's grown up. So to have a van and to use it for work is going to cost me more money, basically more money in fuel. So that's one of the main problems. And also where I live, it's a small town in the UK, and we have a lot of students. We have a university down here and a huge amount of students. And of course, a lot of the houses are what they call multiple occupancy. So what that means is, you can have 4, 5, 6 cars sometimes per house. And it can get crazy if you've got just 2 houses in a road. You can have 10 cars in 2 houses. It's absolutely madness. So because of that, a lot of the times in the year, parking is really, really difficult. Very hard to park anywhere at all. So that would be another problem. Like if I get back late from work in the daytime, it'd be finding somewhere to park, and it's hard enough parking this little thing. But trying to park a van would be harder again. And also, for a van, I would probably go all out then and want to have the solar. I'd have a separate system completely. At the moment, I'm using one little unit, a solar generator, and that's actually quite good. But that's the reason I've got the car, and it's fun. It's incredibly warm in here. The other night when I was camping, I put my little temperature sensor outside, and it was 13.5. In here it was nearly 22, so it was lovely. It was a particularly cold night down in Cornwall camping, Gwithian, and I was amazed how cold it went at night. In fact, I was going to go out and do a bit of stargazing one night, and it was freezing cold. I couldn't believe it was summer. But in the daytime it was great. It was sunny and lovely, and the temperatures were up, no problem. So that's another reason. It's really warm, and when I've camped before under in a tent, you tend to get the dew factor, which is everything starts to get wet. It can do a little bit in a car, you're breathing, but with ventilation, you should always crack a window, as my American friend calls it. Vent your window a little bit, and make sure you get enough oxygen, and that also helps to get rid of the water vapor, that you're breathing out. But yeah, it's been really good. And also, I've been asked a couple of questions, really. What did I use for the bedding? And it's just a 3-inch depth, double mattress, which we've had to cut in two. And the reason we had to do that was because it's roomier than you think, the Ford Fusion. The passenger seat goes completely flat. So it means I've got about 7 foot of room. So I've got plenty of room. On the other side, the seat folds partially down, so you get just over 6 foot of room. So that's okay for my wife on that side. So I get the big long side. The advantage she's got, of course, she's got a lovely headrest and area for your back, when it's daytime and you're just sitting in there, or lying in there, I should say. But it's worked out very good. I've got a cargo net here I use for hanging things off. And for that I use, I've got a little fan, which I bought on Amazon, that's available all over the place, I think. It's called Smart Devil. I've seen it under other names as well. It's just a USB fan. But it's nice and quiet, moves enough air, I've also got a what's it called? Like a Chill and Go, I think it is. It's quite a clever little thing, actually. When I got it, I thought it was going to be a gimmick. But you can actually put some water in the top of it. JML, I think it's called Chillmax and Go or something. And it actually, you can see a tiny fine water vapor coming out of it. And it does actually cool you down. So I use that if it gets really bad. But at the moment, it's been really good. Because I actually have a solar panel on the top and a roof box, it seems to be stopping a fair bit of the heat. And because I use, it's not Reflectix, but you put it behind radiators, it's like a silver foil with a sort of backing on it. And I've cut out one for the windscreen and one for the hatchback window at the back. And that works extremely well. And for the actual windows here, I probably see them here, I've just made curtains. Because again, we're using it in the summer, so these work very well, actually. And I'm not living in it, so I don't have to worry about stealth. And also, if you just come in and you want to get changed or something, you don't have to put all the Reflectix up everywhere. You can just pull the curtains and get changed. So that was quite nice for the side windows having curtains. I think what other questions I would ask now. The awning is I think it's called a Unigear, and that one I got again on Amazon. You can get them other places, I think. That's a 3-meter one. Originally, it's a tarp, I think, that you'd tie to trees and you'd camp underneath. But it also makes a great awning. So what I did was I built a telescopic pole, which you'll see, and that telescopes out, and I can pin those things; they don't move, and that gives me a 3-meter, literally over the top of the side of the vehicle. So it's quite good. Or I can have it like an inverted L, like that sort of shape, which can be a bit of windbreak or a sunbreak as well in that direction. So it's quite usable. You can do quite a bit with it. On the top of the roof, I got the roof box, as I was saying, in the solar panel. The solar panel it also gets 80 or 90 watts. It's a monocrystalline. I had to find a super slim one. This is only 350 millimeters in width, so it's sort of like a sort of skinny surfboard, really, but not as long, obviously. Weighs about 12 pounds in weight. It's extremely good. It's a Zamf Solar originally, and I got it in this country, the UK, but I've not seen it available at the moment. So I think I've sourced an alternative for people, but it's available in the US. It's quite expensive panel, again, because the shape of it is a bit unusual. And I've got an Allpowers solar generator, the first generation, the smaller one, and that has a 300 watt inverter in it. you know, for if you want to use mains. The only thing I use on mains is my little beard trimmer thing, just to keep my stubble down a bit. And also the main reason I wanted it for was it's got 3 or 4 USB sockets, which are brilliant. And also it's got a 12-volt cigarette socket, which I use to power the pump in the sink and tap part of the kitchen in the car. And that's very useful for that too. It's small as well, as the size of a lady's handbag, but obviously weighs a bit more. It's pretty good. It's even got a sort of wireless charging on top of your mobile if you want. Although I haven't got that on mine, but it's there as a feature, which is quite nice. What else is there? I'm also I've got 2 side bits on the bed unit that comes down. So if you imagine you've got your box, which is really just a box, segregated into 3 with the sink and the fresh water, and then the other section that pulls out, and that has all the cooking burners that are pack-away ones. That's all I needed, and also utensils, pots and pans in there, kettle, things like that. Well, the other bit that folds out for the bed was a bit difficult, because when I fold it back, there's 2 giant pieces of plastic and metal in the Ford Fusion. So I actually had to chop 2 pieces off and have them as wings that you bolt on. So it makes it a little bit more complicated. I can't just fold them out. You have to then bolt on these 2 wings with 8 little bolt things. Although it does make it really, really strong. Really, really strong. So that's really, really good. What else is there? We just use sleeping bags in the car. It's been, you know, like I say, lovely and warm for things like that. That's about it, really. I can't think of anything else to add to this. But it's been really good. I'm going on a second car camping venture very soon. And I've really enjoyed it, especially now I've set up a tent, and if it rained or anything, you don't have to pull down a wet tent. I mean, I've got the awning, which obviously can get wet, which is, you know, this tarp I was telling you about, the 3-metre one. But it's still, you know, it's a lot better than putting a whole tent and trying to get it in the car or whatever. Just roll it up really quickly. And just got a couple of poles that I had to buy separately, just a couple of steel poles, and that works pretty good. So I hope this is a bit more information about it. If you're interested in making a car camper, like I said, this was specifically a low-profile one to fit in this car. You know, if you have a different vehicle, you could probably have a higher one, you know, bigger height. But it's quite nice. It only weighs, actually, someone asked me about the weight. It weighs about 40 to 45 pounds in weight, and that's without the water canisters being filled with water. So it's not a bad weight at all, really. And again, it just folds up into the back, and you know, your parcel shelf goes over the top, hides it, and your seats go up, and it's just a normal car again. So you know, you don't have to you know, have that out, which is quite good. So right, thank you for watching the video, and I hope there was a bit of information there you might find useful.